how was the final ascent?
Right. As I mentioned to you earlier, we were back at the base camp on the 15th, right? So uh, the weather was still bad. We held on at the base camp on the 16th, just recovering and just doing other stuff, drying our socks and the thermal underwears, by the fire. And on the 18th of May, the weather was good. The weather was good, and we also got a report from our Indian partners in India that we have to make sure that we leave the mountain by the 27th of May, because after 27th of May the weather is going to be extremely bad. So whether whatever happens, so we have to summit before this 27th and leave the mountain by then. We have to be down. So and that was our only shot, and everyone was praying to make sure that we accomplish our mission. So on the 18th morning at about 5 a.m., most of us were already at the edge of the icefall, fastening our crampons. Crampons are the spikes that are fitted to our ice boots,
Right.
right? So we were there, and then at the icefall, of course, as usual, there was some prayer recital. Then we moved. Of course, during our acclimatization period, we will climb from base camp to camp 1, and then we'll put up a night at camp 1, and then from camp 1 we move on to camp 2. But after going up and down several times, and once we are used to the terrain, we can speed up our process of climbing, and we don't have to stay at camp 1 anymore. Camp 1 we will just leave one tent at the campsite just for any emergency purposes.
Right.
Right. So otherwise, we will not put up at camp 1. We will climb all the way straight to camp 2, because
Right.
we can do it in 6 hours. From
Right.
base camp to camp 2, we can do it in 6 hours.
Right.
So there were 6 of us. 6 of us, we left the base camp and we climbed towards camp 2. 4 climbers and 2 support crew.
Right.
They were based at camp 2. They were based at camp 2 at the time, just to make sure that they take turns to be at the radio base, just in case if there's any communication issues, then they can relay the message from camp 2 to the base camp.
Right.
Because when we were at the higher camps, we cannot communicate direct to those who are at the base camp, right? We have to, but those people who are at camp 2 can hear us.
Right.
So, and they will
Right.
relay the message to base camp. So for
Right.
that purpose, we needed to have another 2 climbers at the camp at camp 2
Wow. So much of
to
preparation.
yeah. So we had one radio base at camp 1 at base camp, and another radio base at camp 2,
Right.
just in case, right? So Major Muhammad Rizan and also Borhan Ibrahim,
Right.
they were at camp 2 together with Murthy Maniam. He was also there at camp 2. So there were 7 of us. There were 7 of us. We left base camp, and the 4 of us reached camp 2. Mohan, Gary, Fauzan, and myself, we reached camp 2 first. All right. And probably an hour or so later, Major Muhammad Rizan joined us at camp 2. But the
Oh.
other two, they could not keep up with us. So they had to halt at camp 1. And they only joined us the next morning. So that was one of the reasons why there were only 4 of us in the end. Some of
Right.
them, they could climb, but it is just that they cannot keep up with the time.
Right. Right.
See, in 6 hours, the 4 of us can climb from base camp to camp 2 in six
Right.
hours.
Right.
But there were others who could only reach camp 1 in 6 hours. That means they need
Oh.
another 6 hours to catch up
Right.
with us at camp 2. So that was
Right.
one of the reasons why finally there were only 4 of us. Right? Because timing is crucial. We
Yes.
cannot spend too much time on the trail. I see. So the 5 hours were at Camp 2 on the 18th late afternoon, and two of them halted at Camp 1 on the 18th. The next day morning, on the 19th morning, the other two caught up with us at Camp 2. And the weather became very, very bad again for the next 2 days.
Wow.
So 19th, the weather was extremely bad. On the 20th, the weather was extremely bad. So we could not do anything. All we did was to sit around the fireplace and just warm ourselves. All right. So on the 21st morning, the weather was not so good, but we know if we don't move, chances of us summiting is going to be extremely slim. So we decided to move on. So we took the chances. Although the weather report says that the weather will be good later in the afternoon, but we don't want to wait until afternoon. See, so we left in the morning as early as possible. So we moved towards Camp 3, and by afternoon we were already at Camp 3. And after about 8 a.m. or so local time, the sun started coming up, and it was warm and nice. So we went up to Camp 3, but our tents at Camp 3 was partially buried under the snow
Wow.
because of bad weather. So of course we had a shovel with us. So I had to shovel the snow on the slopes of Mount Lotse, shovel the snow off, and then got into my tent, and then started preparing for the next day. So we had so now from Camp 3 onwards, we had to cook ourselves. We had to boil water. We need to collect snow and then put it into a mess tin. Melt the snow, make water, and make drinks. All right. So these are all like easy food. We just heat up the food and we just eat. So that was
Right.
what we did. Actually, Mohan has been Dato Mohan has been my tent mate all the way through until Camp 3, and since he's a good cook, so I had no issue with food on the mountain. So he will do all the cooking for me. So so we had some good meal, and then we slept early that night, and the next day morning got up early. Waking up, just getting out of the sleeping tent is one of the biggest challenge every morning. We need to pull the zipper of the sleeping bag very slowly, uh, because we don't want to knock the walls, the wall of the tent, because there will be a layer of frost inside the tent because it's so cold
Oh,
outside, and
right.
we are sleeping. The tent is warm and we are
Yes, yes,
breathing hot air
yes.
out. So there will be a layer of frost inside the tent, full of, and if we knock the tent, and the frost will just drop on us and it will be so cold. So we have to carefully, unzip, come out, and then while still in the sleeping bag, we need to, wear our climbing gears, the top and the bottom, and then slowly, uh, pull the zipper down of, and then wear our climbing boots and whatnot. So that is one of the most difficult part. The first step is always the most difficult every morning at that temperature.